There are two types of players in baseball, and I want to know which one are you. I'm here with Brandon Geyer, former Major League player turned mental strength coach, and he's going to tell us about the two different players and a little bit about your experience in the MLB. What do you got for us?
Yeah, player one, we've all seen this player out of this world physical skills, very weak mindset. I like to think this player, fear me in the past for sure. Fear holds him back more than anything, that fear of failure, the fear of making a mistake, of being embarrassed, of letting their parents down, whatever holds them back. And because of that, they avoid adversity and they avoid stepping out of their comfort zone as much as possible, which that comfort zone right outside of it is the only way we can truly grow. They focus all of their attention on what is out of their control rather than what's in their control. When things don't go their way, they act like a victim. Why me? They find excuses, they blame others, yada, yada, yada. Been there before. I don't recommend that. They don't have set mental performance routines to stack the odds in their favor and quickly bounce back from mistakes when they happen during competition. So then they're hoping for good results rather than creating that confidence, kind of like we talked about before. And then lastly, this player doesn't have the work ethic or the discipline needed to be great, to find out how good they can be. So that's player one. Player two, pretty good physical skills. I wouldn't say nearly as good as player one. Like when I say physical skills, I mean just like natural talent, God-given ability. But he found out about that sixth tool. He found out about his mindset and how to train it intentionally. So he started to do it very deliberately. That fear went from a true obstacle to an asset that now fuels him more than anything. He learned he still has fear, but he has the courage to act in the presence of fear and use it as fuel. Because of that, he approaches rather than avoids adversity, and he steps out of his comfort zone as much as possible, once again knowing he's got to get a little uncomfortable to reach his true potential inside of him. He focuses all his energy on what is 100% in his control, something I'm sure we'll talk about at some point, because I call that the number one skill for all athletes. Focus on what's in your control, let go of everything else. When things don't go his way, rather than the victim, he is what we call a warrior mindset. He says, good, and he asks himself, win. What's important now? What's important now? Then once he asks himself and gets the answer, he goes and he does that thing. When mistakes come during competition, he has specific mental performance routines that really, they give him this unfair competitive edge, I really believe, because when that spiral starts, he's getting emotional, all this stuff, he has a routine to go to create confidence and spiral back up. And lastly, he has set work ethic and discipline principles that really, he does what he says he would do. The worse he feels, the more committed he is. And right there, I always like to say, which player, so I'll ask you, John, which player do you think has more confidence, has more fun, and has a more rewarding and successful career, I would say on and off the field?
Player two.
Player two, hands down, yeah. Hands down. And I think those two players right there, we've all seen those guys, right? This one who doesn't have the great natural talent, but he passes by someone who has way more. And that's the easiest way for me to explain how that happens. And I like to think of it kind of like we all, as ball players, have a physical wall that represents our potential. Now, what determines how close you get to that wall are your mental skills, your overall mindset. So let's say player two's right here, or sorry, player one's right here, player two's right here. Okay, so obviously he has more potential inside of him, more natural ability, but player one only got this close to the wall that is his potential, because why? His mindset held him back more than anything. Remember, player two's wall was up here, not as far up as player one, but he developed that sixth tool in his mindset. He had the mental strength to handle everything that came his way on and off the field. He got as close as possible to that wall that is his physical potential. And what happened? Well, right here was player one. That's where he passed him by. So that's the power of the mind and what it will do for you. And man, if you want to talk about my journey, how I went from that kind of player one who didn't have out of this world physical skills, but a very weak mindset, we can get into that as well if you'd like to.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of reminds me of the old Indian parable about the wolves, the hungry wolves. You ever hear that one?
Like the two wolves?
Yeah, the two wolves. Oh. Like, which wolf do you feed? because basically you could be either player. You could be player 1 or player 2. It's the same guy, but which wolf are you feeding? Are you feeding the negative wolf that has all these bad thoughts and bad energy and unconfident and lets the fear take over his body? Or are you going to feed the wolf who is, an alpha, wants to win, has the confidence, is strong-willed, who only worries about the things that they can control? Because you can feed either wolf. You can feed either player, with your mind. Am I focusing on this stuff or am I focusing on this stuff? So be sure you're feeding the right wolf.
So good. So what I like, and I say that in the program about the two wolves, I heard that first from Navy SEAL Mark Devine. He has a book called like The Two Wolves or something. But I like to put a twist. This is the truth. We as humans and as ball players have the best and the worst inside of us. We all have a lot of good, but we all have a lot of bad. So it's like, which one are you feeding? Which one are you starving? And a lot of that has to do with your self-talk and your behaviors and your actions and your routines. And so I hand out this mantra wristband to players when I'm in person speaking and whatnot. And so on here are 7 of the top voted mantras of the Major League Mindset program. So mantra, if you look it up, it means tool of the mind. And everything with Major League Mindset is give players tools to change their mental state, not the next at bat, change their mental state in the moment. And the mental state for ball players, it's your confidence, it's your focus, it's your self-talk, it's your overall just attitude and emotions. That's your mental state, your body language. Can you, if you're, like you said, if that negative wolf is in control, can you become absolutely great with being mindful when that worst self's in control? I call it best, worst self animal, and like players actually name their animals, best and worst. For me, when I played, I was a lion and a sheep. So being mindful when that worst self's in control, and then starving it in the moment with a tool. And mantras are great tools, and we can go over these at some point, but having set mantras to feed the best within you, so you're letting that best version of you in control, then you're simply putting yourself in the best position to succeed. And as ball players, if we're doing that, we can't ask for anything else. You're increasing your odds for success, and that's what we all should be looking to do, and that's what that's doing right there as well. So
that's awesome. That's really good stuff. Tell me about how your story, you went from player 1 to player 2, and obviously played at the highest level of the game.
Yeah, so rewind 2000 to 2003, my first 3 years at high school, Herndon High School in Northern Virginia. For lack of a better word, I just sucked. I was holding myself back. Like the fear got to me, horrible body language, was a victim, didn't have the work ethic, didn't have the discipline, didn't have routines, focused on what's out of my control. That was me to a T, right? And then so heading towards the end of junior year, a coach recommended a book called Heads Up Baseball by the great Ken Ravizza. Yep. So I didn't just, okay, I'm fine, I'll just do because he told me to. I read it, and then a light bulb went off, and then I applied everything. Because it's one thing to read it, it's another thing to apply it and practice this stuff. And I did that, went out senior year, I got those attributes of player 2 that we talked about. And all of a sudden I'm not relying on results for confidence. I have routines that really create it in the moment. I can stop the spiral when I'm getting very emotional and frustrated. I can stop it and spiral back up and close that gap, so I'm putting myself in the best position to succeed. So senior year, those first 3 years in high school, no colleges, no one's talking to me. I finally get that key, which was my mindset that unlocked myself. And then it got to the point senior year, and in no way am I saying this to brag. It's just, I went off and I could have almost picked what college I wanted to go to because I made that shift in my mindset. Because I had the same physical skills. I didn't change anything physically. Ended up committing to the University of Virginia, played there. Well, what happened? I thought training the mind was just like riding a bike. I get to UVA and I'm recruited as a third baseman, and Ryan Zimmerman's at third base. They tried the experiment where they put me at third and him at shortstop because I was this hot shot recruit. Well, I stopped training the mind because I thought, once again, it was like riding a bike. I get there, it's like I forget everything. I'm back to the player. Just like when you stop training your hitting or your throwing, it atrophies, it goes away, right? I did that with my mindset, thought I was set. And I would make an error, I get to the point, self-talk would take control, that bad wolf, right? That sheep for me. Oh, don't hit the ball to me. I don't want to make another error. Oh God. And I started to focus what I hoped didn't happen rather than what I wanted to happen and execute. Errors later, get moved to outfield for good. And then 2 days before the draft, my junior year at University of Virginia, I slide into the catcher, dislocate my shoulder. So I'm thinking, man, I guess let me rewind real quick. After that first year, I recommitted. I said, if I want to play at the next level, I got to get back into the mental side of the game. So I had shoulder surgery, and that was that trigger for me, like, it's time to train the mental side again. So sophomore, junior year at UVA, that key came back. I unlocked myself, thinking I'm going to be a very high draft pick, first couple rounds. 3 days before the draft, I dislocate my shoulder. And there was a lot of scouts there because Sean Doolittle was on my team at UVA. He's supposed to be a top 5 pick. All the scouts saw me dislocate it. No one was going to draft me just because it just got busted up. Thank the good Lord, the Cubs took a flyer. They drafted me in the 5th round and went with them. Real quick for this journey of adversity, my second full year with the Cubs, they skipped me from low A to double A. So
Big jump if you
yeah, I didn't go to high A, so I go to double A thinking, man, I do good here. I'm a phone call away. I could get up. And what happens, I get there, first 200 at-bats in double A that year, and keep this in mind, everybody, I'm still training my mind. I'm locked in. I'm doing everything like I was doing when I was at my best. First 200 at-bats, I was hitting 180. Ryan Sandberg was our manager, and it became soon after that first month, I was struggling so much, first couple months, I became the first base coach a lot. I became the first base coach. Finally, they sent me down to high A. I continued to get after it, and I went off. And I bring that up because a lot of times we can be doing everything the right way and not get the outcomes we want. And so a mentor, when I was going through all that struggle, he said, Brandon, if you're not getting the outcomes you want, it's because it's the challenge you need. So for whatever reason, the universe was giving me that obstacle. And one of the mantras I like to talk about is OMS, O-M-M-S. It stands for obstacles make me stronger. And I learned that during that time going through it. So I kept telling myself, this obstacle is going to make me stronger. Stay committed, stay disciplined, keep doing your routines and stick to your process. So I continued to do that, went off the rest of the year in high A. I go back the next year to double A, that same league where I hit 180 after 200 at-bats. The next year, I win the Cubs Minor League Player of the Year award and hit 344 in that same league.
Wow.
What did I change? Really nothing. I just continued to train the mind, and like I said, I wasn't getting the results I wanted, but I just continued to, it's all about having a process, stick to it, trust it, work it, and then adjust it if you need to. But the key is to stick to it. And we talked about it earlier. A lot of times for us, when things aren't going good, the worse we feel, the less committed we are. And the worse results we're getting, the less committed. I made a point to have that emotional stamina where, yeah, things aren't going good. I'm kind of rock bottom right now, but I am going to be more committed than ever to my protocol. And because I did that, the next year there, I was able to go off. And then the following year, I get traded to the Rays. Very first at-bat in the big leagues, I hit a home run. I become the 108th player all time to do that. Well, the next 2 at-bats I struck out, and I got sent down the next day, and it was
oh, man, no love.
Right?
They get rid of you quick.
They got quick. So then it took 3 years to finally stick with the Rays, and then when I stick with them, I'm trying to bunt a ball, and I bunt it with my finger. I don't recommend that. And I break my finger, and I'm a righty, so throwing it, coming back, I had to get stitches, and I had no feel in it. It was almost like it was numb. One bad throw led to another. Before you know it, my first year in the big leagues, what am I dealing with? The yips. I don't know. Some of the biggest fear I've ever had playing was warming up with like Desmond Jennings or Kevin Kiermaier in the outfield in between innings. They could be 15 yards away. I had no idea where I was going. The longer throws weren't as bad. And so what I like to say is if I hadn't trained my mind up to that point and really had these tools like self-talk and visualization and all these mantras, that was the end of my career. I would not have got over it. And so, I went to the Indians and played in the World Series and had a great time with them. And, the best game of my life, Game 7 of the 2016 World Series against the Chicago Cubs. And I bring that up because everything we're talking about is what I applied in that game. And that's the power of the mind. The biggest at bat of my life, I never felt so calm and relaxed because I used the pre-pitch routine, used my breath, used mantras like we'll talk about. So yeah, there's more to it, but that's pretty much the journey of adversity, as I like to call it.
I love that. I want to end the pre-pitch routine. You just said that. I want to talk about that in the next video.
Yeah.
So let's do that. But before you go, Brandon has something really cool coming up. April 28th, it's the Major League Mindset 8-week live training. So if you're a guy who says that the mental game is 90% of the game, but you only train at 5%, maybe you need to step it up a little bit and join the course. He's been nice enough to give us $250 off the sign-up price. So I'm going to leave the link down below in the comments or in the description. You can go there, you can find the coupon code, click the link, go over there, sign up, get in for this April 28th, 2024 class that he's doing. And if you're watching this after April 28th, he has more classes coming up. He's going to do a bunch more classes. So
For sure.
Definitely check that out. Really good stuff. I want to talk about in the next video the pre-at-bat routine, a pre-pitch routine, and a bunch more. You're going to see a bunch more videos with Brandon. If you like what you're seeing, hop down in the comments section below. Let us know, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man.